Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Yasmine Flores and welcome to another episode of the Arts at EPCC. Today I have a special treat. I have a good friend of mine, Mr. Marco Sanchez from the art department. Hello Marco, how are you?
Hi Jasmine, doing well, thank you.
Awesome. And yes, and he has a couple of students with him today from the art club at EPCC. So the first student is Miss Demirah Williams. Yes, I promised I was going to get that right. And she's an art major. And then we have Sabi Rodriguez, who is also an art major. How are you all enjoying being in the club? What do you all do in the club?
Well, I love being in the club. It's been a highlight of my semester.
Awesome.
I was the president beginning last semester in the spring, but we didn't have enough members, so nothing much happened. But this semester, with Marco Sanchez being our advisor, he was really able to get more members, so wonderful. I'm just loving the interaction with everyone, and I've got to meet Sabi, who's been such a crucial part of our club, so it's been a lot of fun. We work on projects together mainly.
That's awesome. And so you all brought some of these with you today, and I'm going to have Sabi tell us a little bit about herself, and maybe we could even start with some of your artwork, Sabi. Sabi, tell me a little bit about both of you. Are both of you in your first year at EPCC or second year?
I'm actually in my 2.5 year.
Okay.
I graduate next semester at the end of the spring.
Beautiful,
yes.
Wonderful. I love to hear that. That's fantastic. And Sabi, is this your first year, second year?
I mean, I guess it will be like my second year because I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Wonderful. And so I want to kind of get to know you all a little bit better here. So art majors, but earlier you mentioned graphic design. Now, are you an art major or are you a graphic design major?
Well, I had to change my major. I was graphic design, but due to credits that couldn't be transferred to UTEP, I had to change it to fine art. So that's why I'm an art major.
Okay, wonderful, excellent. And so you brought some of these works with you today. Now, is this one right here? I'm going to let Mr. Sanchez touch it.
Yes, I guess, well, if I may.
Yes.
When you asked Demirah, right, like what do we do as a club? One of the things that we did as a club was this Catrina piece with like tissue paper, right?
Tissue paper.
For a musician altar piece that we did to just honor musicians for, for the festivities. So that is one like really cool thing that I think one of the projects that we've done.
Yes, so we did the altar piece. It can still be seen right now at Valverde campus in A building, in the waiting room there in the lobby. So this was part of that altar. Another project we worked on recently was the Fall Fest that we that just passed by.
Yes.
Our members got together and we fundraised money by doing caricatures of people that were there. So we did like people in costumes or just like people,
cute.
going to get candy or something.
Right. And so let me kind of explain that because that went away for a moment after COVID. So for people out there that remember our old Fall Fest that we had years ago, this was under Arvis Jones back then, apparently Campus Life has reintroduced it. So I was so glad to see it. I happened to be passing by and I saw over by the Americana Village a bunch of commotion going on that afternoon. It was on a Wednesday, right? And it was Wednesday, October 30th. And so I was so glad to see that. So I'm very happy that the clubs are participating again. So keep that on your calendars, folks, for every October, at the end of October. It might not be the 31st, but it'll certainly be within that week. EPCC is going back to the Fall Fest, which I was very excited to see. And so you all participated in that. Let me come back to this. So the table that you're talking about, because it's right around the corner from my office there, I saw Amy Winehouse, a picture of Amy Winehouse there, and I saw some purple high heels is what caught my eye today, right? And so this was a part of that too. And so this was for Dia de los Muertos. Yes? Okay, excellent. And so tell me about, I don't know if you all can delve into that or if this is a huge inspiration, that particular holiday to artists. Do you all ever like paint the little skulls, or do you is that something you all do or did in school when you were younger?
Yes.
Okay, how neat. And it's funny because, yeah, me growing up, I maybe it's because it was so long ago. This was back in the 1900s, okay? So back in the 1900s, things are very different. But I'm so glad to hear that you all are doing these things, and this is actually quite lovely. Now, here's a silly question: what's going to happen to this once it's over?
For that, being the advisor, I'm gonna hold on to it for like future.
Yeah.
Dia de Muertos, and if we continue to do, I think that'd be okay. Like if we continue to do altar pieces and stuff.
You bring
and
it
again,
out.
this year was musicians. We wanted to honor Amy Winehouse. The purple heels that you mentioned were for Selena. We had a picture of Selena.
Okay.
And then being from the border, Juan Gabriel.
Okay.
Being
Right.
from Juarez, and then Jose was another musician.
Oh,
so
nice.
we kind of spread the love around. You know.
I love that. And was that just at VV or was this at other campuses?
That was just at VV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think again being a fairly new student body to the club, you know, we always have people come in and out and kind of rotate, and new people trying to join just yesterday.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes it might be a little hard to kind of keep track of and see what we're trying to do and have the meetings to see what we do. But this was, I think, like an easy thing to jump on, right? I wanted to try and do one with the Museum of History, but just time went by too fast. But I think that's something that we'd like to do in the future. I know Erika Marin, the director of the Museum of History, is a good friend. And yeah, I think she'd love to have us. So that's something that we want to do. But I think, you know, it gets a little harder to do stuff offsite on campus, on top of classes. And also, I think this is a good sort of like warm up for us to do other stuff that we do want to do other stuff offsite. Like we have a mural, hopefully in the plans offsite at a friend's shop. So
nice.
now it's just ponernos las pilas and get the design going.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, that's true. I do need to put in some batteries, right? I love that. So, if I may, let's go ahead.
Can we get help? I think somebody's going to help us take this
If we can
down.
get some help, taking this
So we
down very gently. And so we have our lovely camera person, Mr. Jaime, is going to assist us with that. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay, beautiful.
And then I'll use this just as a backing.
Okay, sure, that's smart. Leave it to an artist to think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can put that on properly.
Yeah, there you go. Would it work the other way?
I don't know, but
Stand
if
it?
we do, it's gonna kind of be in the way. So
Oh, okay.
I guess I can hold.
Okay.
So this is one of Sabi's.
Yeah. Sabi, tell us a little bit about this. How long did it take you to make it?
Okay, for that one, since I did that one in class, for that one, the teacher told us we could do like whatever, like it could be just like one piece. But since it was me, I couldn't decide like on just one. So I decided to do 4.
Okay.
Which is like those 4 little ones, because like I was like, I want to do one of the ocean, or I want to do a dark one, or I want to do a fantasy one, and I want to do one like a let's just say a La La Land one. So I decided to say, okay, then I'll just make it like the 4 of them, but as if it's like 4 different worlds, like 4 different like paradise.
A quadrant of worlds.
How cool is that? That is awesome. And so what was on your mind when you were creating? So you mentioned La La Land.
Yeah.
And what's the water? Because the blue one, dark blue, it looks like the water, right?
Yeah, it's the water. And
Okay.
then the bottom one, the gray one, is like supposed to be the dark one, like as if anything like nightmares and anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's really cool. And so this is a collage piece, right? And so you
Yes.
use some cutouts with this. Okay. And so that's what I'm seeing, the butterflies and some other little things that you did. Some people.
And
Yes.
the
That's
repetition
me.
of yourself, right?
The people that are like around, that's me. All I did was like, it was 3 different pictures.
Oh, it's a circle.
Yeah, and then I
see
did
this
like
now.
a filter, like of like dark filter, and like a blue, like dark blue filter.
That's really cool. That is really excellent. And I like the border too. It kind of looks almost like an animal print that's splitting away, right? Each of the little quadrants. That's super cool. Awesome. So you did this for a class, and so let me ask you, do you all ever sell your artwork? Have you thought about it?
I actually have thought about it, but I didn't know. I don't know how to start, honestly, because I see places.
Some folks in New Mexico, in Mesilla. If you go to Mesilla and you start talking to some of the shop owners, sometimes they'll sell it for you. And I remember that from about 20 years ago. I went one day to Mesilla, and my mom and I, we were, you know how they have tables set up. It's like a farmer's market kind of thing, right? And there was a woman selling these wooden, they're actually for your keys, right, to hang your keys. But it was literally like, maybe, what is that, 2-inch thick, and maybe like 10 by 8 or something, right? This plank that she took beans and glued it to the top to make the roof. She painted a house on it, and then she put the hooks right, like where the water, you know how the water usually drips out of like those adobe kind of things, right?
Yes.
That's where the hooks were, and she was selling those. And we bought one. We have it there at the house for our keys and stuff like that. That's where you should go. Go to Mesilla. So I'm going to give you that idea, right? Or you can check out, even here in El Paso, check the farmers markets here in El Paso, right? And you could probably get a deal with somebody. So that's really fantastic. Okay, so you have that one. Then there's more. I'm going to comment on it before you even start telling me. The thing that I like is the unifying element that you have these black and white lines. That draws me in. I love stripes, right? And so we were talking, yes, Mr. Sanchez has his stripes today. He's got his Pablo Picasso. I love it. And so that's what draws in my eye, is the black and white stripes. That's what I love. This is a cat, a warrior cat. Is that what's going on here?
Yes, a samurai cat.
Oh, I love it. And there's a little sword. I love it. So what was your inspiration for this?
I mean, at first I thought it was whatever, but now that I'm trying to remember, I think I was doing the places that I haven't gone at all. Because that one right there is the London bus, and then there's like the scuba diving, and then there's one of going like on a train, and then there's one, I think the bottom one, like on the, that one, was of going to Mexico, and then the third was like with ocean, and like with the fishes.
Yeah.
And the other one was like somewhere in Antarctica.
Okay, wow, that's really cool. I love this so much. This is really awesome. What do you see yourself doing in 10 years?
10 years.
You think it's a long time, and it's not.
It's not.
Because I remember 24 like it was yesterday. And it was 20 years ago. Okay.
I'm still stuck in 2021.
Okay, right. Yeah, you're also stuck. I mean, I think of my age, 24, when I was 24 years old, which is closer to your age, and I remember it like it was yesterday. My body doesn't. My body's like, you're not 24, right? Like memo. Right, yeah. So I'm gonna come back to you on that question, and I'm gonna move over here to Demirah. I love this so much. You should sell that. That's really awesome. It's beautiful. Oh, is this is her as well.
We do have one more. I'm sorry.
Yes.
We do have one more. A grayscale.
This is so good. And you like the stripes. I love stripes too. This is excellent. How do you draw, and this is for any one of you to answer, how do you draw yourself?
Well, on that one, that was like my first time doing an image like of myself, kind of.
Right.
But the class was about to do like fade in the colors, and I tried to do the opposite. I'm like, I'm not gonna fade it in. I just did like the shades, and then I did it with circles. And then I was panicking at first, like it's not coming out, and then like, and then it did come out. I'm like, oh, it does come out like the picture.
That's awesome. So this started with circles?
Yeah, I just got like an image of me, and then like I traced it with circles to know like, okay, this is gonna be this shade, and then one is gonna be black, this one's gonna be gray, and then darker gray.
That's awesome.
So if you kind of think, because this is an assignment for design, I believe. It's a grayscale design, so it also helps to understand just values and really formal way of approaching an art piece and portraiture, or really anything. If you approach it in a formal aspect, things work in planes. So even highlights and midtones and then shadows work all in planes. So that's why I think you can kind of see the values kind of sort of look almost topographical, where like the highlight is, and then dissipating into the darker tones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lovely, lovely image.
Yeah.
Really
now
well
that you say
rendered.
topographical, now I'm thinking of maps.
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so the maps that show depth with the peaks.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, this makes sense. That is superb. You have to sign your artwork if you're going to sell it, okay, Sabi?
Yes.
Good.
Right, but
And
yeah,
so
beautiful.
this is that kind of your color wheel there at the bottom?
Yes.
That's super cool. So those are the colors you used only.
Yes.
How neat.
Yeah, the values of the grayscale values.
Okay, that's super cool. That's beautiful, and I want to make time for Demirah.
Demirah, yes.
Yes, and so this is the first piece from Demirah. Oh, this is cute. I love it so much.
Thank you. So this is a personal drawing. I had a friend, and I just have a personal thing with just like rearranging room, or it's like seeing a room and wanting to fix it.
Yes. You and me
and I
both.
had that urge, but I didn't want to intrude, so I decided to draw it instead.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, this is their inspiration. You can see like their cat on the bed, and like I just grabbed like personal details and put it into there, and just threw my own elements in there as well.
So this is a friend's room.
Yes, it's inspiration. It's inspired by their room. in a
Okay.
sense, yeah.
Reimagined.
Yes, and you were like, hint, hint, this is how you should do. You know what I think is smart about this, and I've never thought about this, is that you remove the walls, right? And so it's as though, because you're seeing the back, what would be covered by a wall, right, the television, and then also the side of the dresser too.
You know, funny enough, I mean, we're in a TV set, and that's what they do for
Right,
shows,
of course.
right? Like you just see.
Right,
So
just
it's
exactly.
funny that it's a little.
It's it's
Like,
a mirror image
it's a
of what we're
mirror.
doing
It's,
right
yeah, a bit
now,
meta,
right?
yeah.
There is no wall here,
There
right?
is no wall.
Exactly, right? Yeah, and I love that dresser. I'm curious about that dresser. And are those French doors?
Yes. So if this was bigger, you'd be able to see the details better. So yeah, it is those are French doors. Actually leads into their living room and their kitchen.
Oh, cool.
And then on
It's
the
a nice
dresser,
house.
I have it's actually an apartment.
Okay.
So, and they have like their cat tower, their junk on the dresser, their pictures.
Right, that is a cat tower. Now I see.
Yes.
Love
Laundry
that.
basket, pizza box, cat toys, shoes.
That's so awesome. And I
Messy.
love the lights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm always afraid of a fire hazard. I'm afraid that I'm causing a fire hazard if I do that in my room. But I love that so much. So now, what are your favorite things to draw, Demirah? People,
Go ahead and switch them,
subjects.
yes. So I do love perspective. I'm actually working on perspective right now and drawing one. And Frank Rimbach, he's encouraged me to start drawing at home. So this is what I did from home. It's just I was sitting on the couch. So right there, it's the archway, and then on the middle, it looks like a little picture. It says Jones. That's my in-laws' last name. And it's like a little piece of their last name, and then I had to get the details of the couch, which was a good challenge.
Right.
I didn't get it as nice as I would like it. But yeah, I tried to get all the folds and the blankets and the dog crate as well. I tried to like make that detailed.
I'm so impressed with that, and you're right. So now when you say perspectives, is it that you're studying which angle of the room you're going to draw from, and how those creases change depending? So it's basically what our cameraman Patrick does, right? Right. He studies perspective but from a different standpoint. So that's very funny. So and this is lovely. And you know what I'm so curious about is how this is going to show up on camera, because the crisscrossing that you've created, which is like a shadow effect. Does that have a name?
Crosshatch.
Crosshatch.
Yes.
Okay, so the crosshatch, I mean, I'm looking more closely at it, so I'm looking at some of these pillows and I'm like, could that be a pillow with stripes, or is that shading? And so I think from far away you would start to see it as shading, right? Yes. Shading. And so you're basically in a gray scale trying to imitate the different shades of gray.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm not a total novice at all of this.
No,
I think
great.
I've had,
it's a great
I've had
explanation.
enough art people on the show that have taught me. Maybe I should pay tuition, right? To you all. Lovely. So do you have any other artwork to share with us?
I do.
Yes.
To add on to your question a little bit, I also like to do figures.
Okay.
I'm learning how to do that right now in my drawing class. I wanted to take life drawing next semester, but it's not available.
Okay.
But with that, you can do figures and such. So I have these 2 paintings that that you guys will show on the screen. One of them is like a very colorful image of AOC. She's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a
Politician,
congresswoman
right?
in New York in the Bronx.
Yes.
She did a speech about I created this like 2 or 3 years ago, so she must have done the speech like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And she's calling out other congressmen. I don't know the name of the speech, but that speech really inspired me. She was talking about how women are accosted regularly without really repercussions to it, especially by.
I see.
And she was accosted by other congressmen in front of the House of Representatives.
Right.
And basically, long story short, they didn't get. They apologized, but it wasn't really an apology. So she did a whole speech about it to Congress, and it really inspired me. So I was able to get the painting to her that I had done for her. With the help of Eddie Treviso, Professor Treviso.
Oh, yes.
I did a presentation about it, and he helped me send it. It's very colorful. I wish I had it here to show you. But yeah, that's like my main thing. I'm really excited about.
Did she send you a letter or anything in return?
Nothing yet. I think I sent it like a year or 2 ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but nothing
I
yet.
would
But
imagine.
I just hope she has it and she's looking at it. That's all I want.
Yes, of course. You know what? I would imagine that she probably has. She's a very popular politician, and so piles of mail that arrive, and so hopefully within the next year or 2, you can hear back from her. And so that's really awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. And so now, you had some other artwork that you wanted to tell us a little bit about, and we're going to show it on the screen here. So what is the first piece that you want to tell us about?
It's actually really personal to me because it actually is inspired by like an experience that I have had, but it's a little too personal to explain. But in the image, it is of a woman's body. It is nude. It is a nude body. But in this image, she's presented herself, and there's like a hand reaching out towards her, and there's like long fingernails growing out of it, and like mushrooms growing out of it, kind of like it's decaying in a sense. And it's coming out of this like coffin-shaped box that's like filled with these crazy patterns of eyes and nature inside of it. And then like on her shoulder, there's like some cacti on there, which is supposed to be representative of like they're supposed to be on her side, but they hurt her, you know, because it's cacti. They're prickly. Yeah, so and when it's shown on the screen, hopefully it's able to be shown because it is nude. But that's also another one of my favorite, and it's just full of colors and everything.
How neat is that? That's really cool. So now I'm going to circle back to Sabi, and then I'm going to ask you the same question. Sabi, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I mean, I have 2 options for that. Either I'm going to be a teacher. Probably somewhere not here in El Paso. Try to get like a bigger chance with art out here. And if not, probably working with a company. I would continue with like graphic design. Those are my 2 options.
That's awesome. That's very cool. And I always tell my students, sometimes I like to work backwards because especially when my students start to get a little rowdy in class, I'm like, all right, let's do some math, right? And I scare them with this cute little equation where I go, if you plan on, let's say you're going to live to be 90 and you're 20, you have 70 years left. Multiply that by 365 days. And that's how much time you have left. You better get on it. You better put a sock in it and start listening to me, right? So likewise, 10 years is going to fly by as long as you have a plan, right? And so now, Demirah, what is your plan?
I'm assuming in the next 10 years. I'm trying to keep it simple. I want to for sure teach art in high school and then eventually in college. I'd like to stay in El Paso because it's just my home. And I know I can get a job as a high school teacher here, which, you know, is important to me, being able to find a job. Of course, I am married, so that's also another thing to take into account with what he wants to do.
Sure.
So if I were to pick where I want to go, probably somewhere northeast or Washington. But yeah, my goal is to teach. I want to teach art or psychology as well. I want to get my associates in both art and psychology. If I can teach both art and psychology, that's where I want to be. So I'm getting there to get both of them. Yeah.
That's so cool. And they tie in so much. Right now, Music Appreciation, we're talking about Arnold Schoenberg. And this is during the Sigmund Freud era, right? And how the concept of the human psyche, mental health, all these things were starting to come to the forefront in the 20th century. And so art and psychology are so tied in, because sometimes I would imagine, and I could be wrong, that folks are drawing something and they can't really, it just starts to come to them, but they don't know where it's coming from, right? And so that's super fascinating to me. I used to draw when I was very young. When I was in middle school, Mr. Dosal, his name was, I think it's Robert Dosal. Yeah, he was my teacher at Issa Middle School. Wonderful teacher, great memories. And so I wasn't that good of an artist, but he was very sweet. He was always, I did an interesting, it was like color pencil, but it was a fruit bowl. It was all angular, right? So I don't know, it was experimenting, but I had a great time. I loved art. And it looks like you all are enjoying yourselves. So you're going to go find out about El Paso Farmers Market and Mesilla Farmer Market, right? Okay. Yes. And then you're going to join along as well. You're going to see where you can sell these beautiful pieces, because this is really cool. And I would also encourage you, all of you, to, and maybe you didn't bring them today, because anything bigger than what we saw on the first part of the show is a little too much for the camera to capture. But this would be stunning on a red wall, right? Black frame, red wall. Wouldn't that be really beautiful? Also, cafes will show artwork. I remember a cafe in Iowa once that had 4 pieces of art, and each one was $100 each, and they were this big, tiny. And I was like, but it was like paint splashed. I know. Never mind my ignorance. And I was just like, it was like plain splashing, right? $100 each. I was like, it's cute, but you know. So I think this is exceptional. I think both of you are doing a fantastic job. So on the next show, we're going to have a couple more of you with Mr. Sanchez, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the art club. Thank you so much to the two of you for coming in today. I appreciate you all. And if you all can't join us for the next episode, let me tell you, check us out, epcc.edu, type in the art department, and you will find more information about the art degree and everything that you can do. There's some terrific folks there, Sarella Aguilar, Frank Rimbach, who you just mentioned earlier, Brack Morrow, so fantastic folks. Thank you so much, you guys, and we'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.